Hello book besties and welcome to my brand new booktube channel. I am very excited to be here. I am nervous though because I've never made like these kind of videos before. Like for YouTube, I've done things on TikTok and I've done things on Instagram like that are book related content, but never something like YouTube before. So yeah, I am really excited. So I figured that it would be perfect for me to introduce myself and for you guys to get to know me a little bit with the newbie booktube tag. So I have all of my questions written right here, so let's get into it. The first question is, why did I start this channel? Well, I started Book Talk in March of this year and I really enjoyed it. I really took to like video creating and content creation, and I met so many incredible people that I know will probably be in my life for the rest of my life. So I love the community that I was able to create. That was like a big part of the reason why I wanted to take this to BookTube too, because I feel like BookTube is a little bit more personal, you know, like I get to talk more, I get to share more about my thoughts. And sometimes I feel like that's super cut short when you have to post it to Book Talk. I'm always like trying to rush to like fit everything that I want to say within the 3-minute mark. That's like the main reason why I started the channel. The second question is, what can I bring to BookTube? So I am a big young adult fan, so I would love to bring, you know, my recommendations, my reviews, my ratings, everything that I love about books, and just like my general thoughts. I know that I love watching people share their thoughts on books that I love, or maybe books that I didn't love that I want to love, and getting to hear their thoughts on them. I also love to annotate books. Annotating is like one of my favorite things to do ever. When I first thought about starting BookTube, that was like my first thought. I was like, oh, I could make like annotation videos and I could like videotape me annotating and doing stuff like that, because I feel like that would be really fun. So yeah, that's what I can bring to BookTube. The third question is, why do I love reading? That is a hard one. I love reading for all sorts of reasons. I love to read about a character and be like, they're just like me. Like they have the same feelings that I have. They're going through some of the same things that I'm going through. And it makes me feel less alone. It makes me feel like I can relate to something and someone, even if they aren't real, even if they are fictional. I also really love to be able to escape into a world where I'm like flying on a dragon's back, or like falling in love with like the perfect bookstore owner or something like that. I love being able to escape into a world that isn't my own, because it's just fun. It's just fun to do. The fourth question is, what book/series got me into reading? I've been reading ever since I was a young kid. I think I'm gonna go with Percy Jackson and the Olympians series by Rick Riordan. I think Percy was like my first ever book boyfriend. I loved Percy Jackson so much. I remember picking that book up when I was 12, and Percy Jackson was 12 in the first book. So I was like, oh my gosh, he's 12, like he's just like me, and he's like fighting these monsters and he's a demigod. I would say that that's the book that really made me like, oh my gosh, I love reading, I love fantasy, I want to do this more. The fifth question is, what challenges will I face with BookTube? I would probably say like making the time to film the videos, to post the content, to edit them. I know with TikTok, my videos personally, I don't really hardcore edit them. I don't really spend a lot of time editing them. Like I'll just kind of like split and I'll like cut some of the footage out, or I'll like add captions or something like that, add like a pretty font, but nothing like that really like takes too much time. But I'm excited because I love doing that kind of stuff. I just get worried like when I start school, which is like in like a month already, which is so nauseating, that I won't have time to do it, but hopefully I will. So yeah, that would probably be the biggest challenge that I'm gonna face. Sixth question is, where do I like to read? Everywhere. I take a book with me everywhere. I read in the car, I read in my room, I read on my bed, I read at work, I read at the kitchen table. Anywhere that there's a chair, I'm gonna be reading. I don't think that I really have like a favorite place that I like to read. I mean, my room probably. That's where I like to read. The seventh question is, what do I like to read? A lot. I love reading anything that's like young adult. I love young adult fantasy, I love young adult romance, I love young adult mystery thriller, and recently I've been like branching out to more of like the adult and new adult. Like Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros was my book of the year. I loved it so much, and that's new adult. Some of my favorite books are Last Chance Books by Kelsey Rodkey. It's a young adult romance about two rival bookstore workers, which is just so cute because I work in a bookstore, so it's just so fun like seeing that different dynamic. I also love Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I've read Better Than the Movies and I've read The Do-Over by Lynn Painter, and I love them both. 5 stars. They're just perfect. For young adult fantasy, one of my favorite books this year was Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. I devoured that book, and it still lives in my mind rent-free because it's just so good. Margaret Rogerson has such a beautiful writing style too, so I feel like whenever I read her books, I'm just like immediately transported into whatever world she's created, which is always such an interesting world too. I also love Caraval by Stephanie Garber. That is like one of my all-time favorite fantasy series. As for like regular romance, I love The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I absolutely love Happy Place by Emily Henry. It's my first Emily Henry book that I've read and finished, and I absolutely loved it. 5 stars. Oh, I almost forgot to mention like one of my favorite books of all time, Everything by Nicole Yoon. I've read that too many times to count. Embarrassing amount of times I've read that book. I love it so much. It's one of my all-time favorites. For mystery thriller, I'm a big Frida McFadden fan. My favorite book of hers that I've read so far is The Locked Door, but I've also read like The Housemaid, Never Lie, and I read The Housemaid's Secret, and they were all amazing. I love them all. I'm a big mood reader, so anything that I do read just like depends on my mood. Like since it's summer, I've been devouring like the rom-coms, the romances, and all of that kind of stuff. Like in the fall, like you'll see me reading a lot of like mystery thrillers. In the winter, for some reason, I love reading like fantasy and sci-fi and stuff like that. So I kind of dip my toe into a lot of different genres. I love finding new books. I love finding new authors. So yeah, that's what I like to read. I think that is the very last question. So yeah, hopefully you know a little bit more about me. If you wanted to connect with me on my other social media, you can follow me at heartfelthan on TikTok and the Heartfelt Library on Instagram. Again, I'm so excited to be here. I think that this is going to be so much fun. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with it. I'm so excited to connect with all of the people on BookTube. I'm so excited to make new friends. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye.